How you doing out there? Frankie Russo pre-show number, I think this is my 95th show, if I'm not mistaken. What show is this? I think it is 95. How's everybody doing out there? Beautiful thing. We had a great reception this past Sunday at the Hunter's Steakhouse. It was cool. I was giving out wine. Everybody was having fun. We were laughing. We were telling jokes. It was a beautiful thing. You know, it was a 2 hour reception, very short, just a little pre-launch, getting ready for 2016 with the grace of God. Remember, you got to help America's team, help our veterans. You got to go to the icon. Here's the icon on the Frankie Russo show page. Click on the icon, and let's get this started. We're going to raise $50,000 for the men and women of the United States Armed Forces. And we're going to build a scalable, rent 2 rooms, 3 rooms, get zero-base gravity chairs, throw in some handheld biofeedback devices, document what we're doing, publish an article, and we're going to keep it going, son. Remember, help America's team, help our veterans. America's Team.today, RussoNation.tv. You got to go there. Okay, good. America's team, we're making it happen. As always, when I start my pre-show, I just want to go to this is the model. We started. We're taking something pretty complicated, the foreign policy, all this chaos and confusion, and we break it down into something simple to understand what the hell is really going on over here. So we got a fraudulent Sector Service card, statistically significant. Obama, a legal president, plus the Clinton Foundation, plus the Iranian Global Terror Network, plus the Iranian surrogates, and we got action. So tonight, we're going to move around a little bit, and we're going to figure some things out. First thing, this is back in 2011, but I'm going to tie this in a few, so follow me. First article from Fox Nation. Federal judge upholds government funding of Sharia law. Remember, the big bailout in 08 when Obama took over. Hundreds of millions of dollars, billions. Went to AIG. They call it the AIG bailout.
Yeah, that's true. And what Kramer does in the book is
143 million of that money went to Sharia finance compliant products. So follow me now. In January 2000, I'm just tying this stuff in. This is other stuff we're tying in. I would have brought this in sooner, but all this other stuff with San Bernardino and all this stuff came in, so I'm still going to throw it in though. This is from January of 2011. Judge Lawrence Zakatoff, I got it, a federal district court judge in Michigan, dismissed a constitutional challenge to the United States government's bailout of AIG, which used over $100 million in federal tax money to support Islamic religious indoctrination through the funding and promotion of Sharia-compliant financing. And this financing follows the dictates of Islamic law. In addition, a project for the Center for Security Policy, great group. They are a tremendous think tank on global intelligence, counterterrorism, both homeland and abroad. Tremendous organization. They got this publication called Sharia Finance Watch. So I'm reading right from this it's called, this particular issue is called Iran Terrorism, Proliferation and Sharia Compliant Finance. This is in 2009. In 2008, this individual attended Harvard Law School's celebration of Islamic finance. This event has been labeled by others as shilling for Sharia at Harvard. During the 2 days of the presentations, there was absolutely no critical thought expressed on the wider issue of Sharia, according to this issue. No one at this event expressed any concern that there might be some problems associated with introducing Sharia into the West. So this individual found it very curious, given the handout was distributed to conference attendees, top 500 Islamic financial institutions. On its face, nothing about this publication seems spectacular. It was a supplement to the November 2008 issue of The Banker. Okay? Now, in the entire 2-day Harvard Law School conference, no one uttered the word Iran. Yet the feature article in the conference handout celebrated the fact that Iran was the top dog of Sharia compliant finance. Was atop the world of Sharia compliant finance. The same Iran, which is the world's foremost sponsor of jihadist terrorism, is a serial nuclear proliferator, has threatened other countries with genocide and armed insurgents in Iraq with advanced weaponry with which they killed American GIs. Absolutely true. This is the country that dominates the world of Sharia compliant finance, Iran. I'm like, this is off the hook. The revelation about Iran's prominent role in Sharia compliant finance should be especially significant given the fact that the promoters of Sharia compliant finance like to tout it as a form of ethical investing. You believe it? Want to market it cloaked as such to non-Muslims and claim that Sharia compliance prohibits investments in weaponry, as the Post put it in an article back in October. This is where things really get disturbing. As listed in the Banker supplement were the top 500 Islamic institutions. Numbers 1, 2, 5, 8 are all Iranian firms and are all state-owned. Number 1 in the world, the top Islamic financial institution in the world. Guess who? Bank Melli of Iran. Bank Melli of Iran. Here we go. In October 2007, U.S. government imposed sweeping sanctions, especially targeting Bank Melli, citing Melli's financing of Iranian nuclear and ballistic missile programs, as well as facilitating hundreds of millions of dollars of payments from Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force, Special Forces to the terrorist organizations Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Ethical investing? Wow, here's more. They said, according to this, I just pushed this forward on this Bank Melli. In June of 2008, the European Union, not exactly a hawkish anti-Iranian bloc, also imposed sanctions on Bank Melli due to its involvement in financing aspects of Iran's nuclear program. Australia followed suit by imposing sanctions especially aimed at Bank Melli in October 2008. Wow. And then we talked about, remember, and it goes back to the model. Remember, I talked to you about the model? The Blind Sheik's Mosque, right? Bank Melli, Iranian surrogate, Alevi Foundation, Asa Corporation, 650 Fifth Avenue building, Blind Sheik's Mosque is all part of that. Alevi Foundation gave $1.4 million from the 650 Fifth Avenue building to the Blind Sheik's Mosque. Shia, Alevi Foundation, court papers, judge's decision, Iran, over $1.4 million to the Blind Sheik's Mosque. Sunni, Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas financing, crazy stuff. Just keep that in your, put that in your peace pipe and smoke it, huh? That's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Counter Jihad report. 51% of U.S. Muslims want Sharia. What could possibly go wrong? Robert Spencer, front page. Investigative journalist Paul Spurry, this guy's great. He did that article, Blind Faith, reported that Muslims living in the United States just this June told polling company they preferred having the choice of being governed according to Sharia or Islamic law. He also noted that 60% of Muslim Americans under 30 who told Pew Research they're more loyal to Sharia, to Islam, than America. Now, these are, let's understand, sometimes the polls and the numbers are taken to an extreme. These are polls. These are random samples that are taking 300, 400, 500, 1,000. They try to find that they put the data together. They ask the questions. They garner the data, and then they try to see if the data is statistically significant. Now, with 1,000 people, I don't believe that you can get statistical significance with 1,000 people in a random sample. Now, if you get a bigger random sample and it continues to get the same trend, then you could say with unequivocal statistical significance that you believe with utmost certainty that there's a trend going on that conceivably 60% of Muslim Americans under 30 are more loyal to Islam than America. That is, you can make a prediction like that if your random sample is big enough. Something to think about. You got to be careful with these samples and these polls, because also too you got to understand that these samples are not objective; they're subjective. Right? We don't know if they're lying or telling the truth. You don't have a biofeedback device connected to these people when they're asking the questions. So you don't know whether they're lying or not. You got to factor it in. I guess that's the plus or minus 3 or 4% margin of error. I guess that's what that is. I guess so, probably. Okay. Many key Muslim leaders in the United States have said the same thing. Islam isn't in America to be equal to any other faith, but to become dominant. The Quran should be the highest authority in America and Islam the only accepted religion on earth. So said the co-founder and long-time board chairman of the Hamas-linked CARE, Council of American Islamic Relations, Omar Ahmad. Omar Ahmad, I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, Omar Ahmad was part of the Holy Land Foundation, because I know CARE was an unindicted co-conspirator on the Holy Land Foundation trial. Omar Ahmad. Let's see what it says. He was the founder. Let's see. Omar Ahmad. In 1980 declared that he made that speech we just said. Let's see. My phone is acting up. Let's see. Right. It doesn't mention anything about him being, but he did say those words. Okay. Because they are, I know that for a fact that they're unindicted co-conspirators on the biggest money laundering scheme for terror in this nation's history, the Holy Land Foundation trial. And that's when, you know, FBI surveillance, everything. They had the whole kit and caboodle. Laura Burns' testimony. They had the Zakat committees. They had them on tape. They had the money wires. They had everything. The evidence was incredible. Yet, the Eric Holder, the Justice Department dropped the charges, and that's when Louis Gohmert went nuts. And that's Hamas financing. United States taxpayers' dollars going to the Zakat committees all the way to the Gaza Strip, dropping bombs on American allies. But that's that one.
Jerry, Captain, good evening to you. Thank you for joining me tonight. This struck me as unprecedented. We learned about
Here's an interesting one. Whistleblower, Department of Homeland Security pulled plug on surveillance that could have ID'd the San Bernardino terrorists, says the Fox insider.
Well, actually, I mean, this is not unprecedented. We've seen
And this dude was on the Fox News. His name was Philip Haney, a former Homeland Security employee, says he likely could have helped prevent the San Bernardino terror attack if the government had not pulled the plug on a surveillance program he was developing 3 years ago. So that's during the Obama administration. He was looking into a collection of global networks that were infiltrating radical Islamists into the United States. But a year into the investigation, he got a visit from the State Department and the Homeland Security Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, who said that tracking these groups was problematic because they were Islamic. Really? His investigation was shut down. 67 of his records were deleted, including one into an organization that with ties to the mosque in Riverside, California, that San Bernardino terrorist Saeed Farouk attended. Haney explained that if his work was allowed to continue, he could have possibly stopped the attack. Either Saeed would have been put on a no-fly list because association with that mosque, which I think was the Durlum Mosque, and or the finance the K-1 visa, the visa his wife was given may have been denied because of association with the organization. Crazy stuff. There's DHS, this Department of Homeland Security. Well, it doesn't stop there. 72, according to the Washington Free Beacon, Adam Credo, 72 Department of Homeland Security employees on terror watch lists. At least 72 employees of the Department of Homeland Security are listed on the U.S. terrorist watch list, according to Congressman Stephen Lynch, disclosed that a congressional investigation recently found that at least 72 people working at the Department of Homeland Security were on a terrorist watch list. Back in August, we did an investigation, the Inspector General did, of the Department of Homeland Security, and they had 72 individuals that were on terrorist watch lists that were actually working at the Department of Homeland Security, according to Congressman Stephen Lynch, who happens to be a Democrat. The former director of the Department of Homeland Security had to resign because of that. And the DHS, I read this article this week, but I'm reading it again because I started to go into the list. The DHS continues to fail inspections aimed at determining the efficacy of its internal safety mechanisms, as well as its efforts to protect the nation. So, I went through the list. Now this is interesting. You see, now this is where this is interesting. So we got the Homeland Security, which, quite frankly, just to give everybody an idea, the Homeland Security Department, Homeland the Homeland Security Department. Here we go. Homeland Security Department. Where is that? Homeland Security. Wait. Here it is. United States Department of Homeland Security. Here it is. This is what I was looking for. Okay. It was formed in November 25th, 2002. Now, its annual budget, $55 billion. What falls within? With more than 240,000 employees, the Department of Homeland Security is the third largest cabinet department after the Departments of Defense and Veterans Affairs. Homeland Security is coordinated at the White House by the Homeland Security Council. Other agencies with significant Homeland Security responsibilities include Departments of Health and Human Services, Justice, and Energy. Homeland Security has received substantial criticism over excessive bureaucracy, waste, fraud, ineffectiveness, and lack of transparency. Its information sharing centers have been accused of violating American civil liberties. Wow, it's crazy stuff. Now, United States citizen, what falls within this department? United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, United States Customs and Border Protection, Federal Emergency Management Agency, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Transportation Security Administration, TSA, United States Coast Guard, National Protection and Programs Directorate, and United States Secret Service. All fall within the Department of Homeland Security. Crazy stuff. Look at this. And we got 72 on and with all this, we know the massive department that it is. It seems to be like one big sieve, basically. So now we got the Department of Homeland Security, which is definitely part of our discussions tonight. And I found this other thing, which I found very problematic. What the court said to the NYPD for Muslim mapping against terrorist plots. The Third U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals says that the New York Police Department was in the wrong for monitoring Muslim activity in mosques and Muslim communities. Are you kidding me? We have been down these roads before. I talked about civil rights movement. The lawsuit was reopened recently. The plaintiffs are 6 Muslims, 2 groups which oversee mosques, 2 Muslim-owned businesses, and a Muslim Students Association at Rutgers. It's probably a Muslim Brotherhood front. The plaintiffs say that after 9/11, the NYPD set up an intelligence program to monitor them, which infringes on their rights. They absolutely did! You better believe it! More than 20,000 of Americans were killed in New York City alone by Islamic fanatics, according to the New York Post, and we know that. The NYPD's surveillance effort, a modest program known as the Demographics Unit, was set up the following year, and de Blasio ended it. Thank you, Figues, de Blaze de Figues. The surveillance included such things as cameras to watch mosques. We should just raid them. The collection of license plate numbers, infiltration of organizations. Come on. He tossed the case, this judge. Alleged facts from which it can be, we're targeting the group because of religion, he says. Really? Unbelievable. There's another one. Terrific. Feds have no clue if 9,500 people with revoked visas and links to terrorism are in the United States. In case you missed it, the House Oversight Committee held a hearing about the vetting process for refugees entering the United States from terrorism hotspots. During the hearing, officials from State Department, Homeland Security were asked about the location of 9,500 individuals who have been stripped of their U.S. visas because of links to terrorism. They had no idea and could not say if these individuals were still in the United States. The State Department has revoked approximately 122,000 visas for a variety of reasons, including nearly 9,500 with links to terror. Of the 120,000 revoked visas, how many of those people in the United States? State Department answered, I don't know. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to close this down. One more. Intelligence report, 116 ex-Gitmo detainees went back to the battlefield. Report says 116 of the 64 former detainees were confirmed of re-engaging, 17.9, in other words, going back in. 69 former detainees were suspected of re-engaging. Okay, so I'm getting ready. I got the pre-show coming up. I got to close this down. Remember, America's Team. Go to this icon, click on it, and donate. Help America's Team, help our veterans. This is the Frankie Russo pre-show. Yeah, yeah. I'll see you in a few.